When you take responsibility for your life and for your future, that's when magic can happen. I was married before, and right when we were planning on conceiving our first child, he had an affair with our neighbor and got her pregnant. And right after that, I met someone whom I thought was Mr. Right, and ended up that he had lied about having cancer to cover up his drug addiction, had conned me out of a lot of money. And I was also pregnant with his child, and he left and we broke up. It was just at that rock bottom place where I felt like everything had fallen apart completely. What have I tolerated in my life that I can take more control over? What have I let into my life that I should have said no to or should have set boundaries around? And that, to me, is taking like real radical responsibility for your life. And personally, that's when everything changed. And I wrote down 10 things that I was grateful for. Sure enough, I could think of 10 things that I was grateful for. And I also, I didn't have magazines to make a vision board, but I got out a pen and a piece of paper, and I drew a picture of what it was that I wanted. A house with a stick figure drawing of me with a baby, because I was pregnant, and I was surrounded by other stick figures, people, and then I just drew a bunch of hearts. And so to me, what that represented is just to be surrounded by people that love and support me, and just lots of love. Intimacy and love and trust and connection were the things that I wanted so much, but equally were the things I was terrified of. And so for me, it really was digging into that and doing a lot of the hard work. I was diagnosed with chronic anxiety disorder in 2003, and I got the word surrender tattooed on my arm in my own handwriting as a reminder. When I wake up with anxiety, and many times it seems like it doesn't have a rhyme or reason, it just shows up. So the way I look at it is sort of like an unwelcome house guest. So you came to the door and I open the door and I'm sort of like, oh, you're back. Come on in and stay for the day. And that's pretty much as long as you are welcome here, instead of trying to block the door and not let it in, or be angry that it came over. Because for me, the more I try to resist my anxiety, the more I judge it or judge myself for having it in the first place, the worse it is and the longer it stays around. And the more I can lean into that, then the less like shit that I feel. I think that our support system is so important. When I have clients come to work with me and they are having bad days, I ask them, what does your support system look like? And for many people, they have a support system. They have good friends or family members that want to be there for them. And so I encourage people to ask for what they need. How do you like to be supported? Do you need someone to just listen and give you a hug? Do you need a pep talk? Do you want advice? What is it exactly that you think that you need? And then the other thing that I encourage people is just to try to have some self-compassion. I've been speaking to myself harshly for so long. When is it going to feel authentic? And what I say to that is, you're learning a new language. You have to keep practicing, and you have to be intentional, and you have to know how important it is. The persistence and the perseverance and the patience as well to learn to speak more kindly to yourself, and that can help you greatly in terms of your mindset and to feel better. I grew up in a house where really the only emotion that was encouraged was love and happiness. And if you had any others, you went and did those in your room. And then when you were done, you came out and joined us. And it really, there wasn't a whole lot of room to explore grief and sadness and loneliness and those sort of more challenging emotions. And what I want to teach my children is that you're allowed to feel whatever it is that you feel. If you're scared, lonely, disappointed, frustrated, anything, angry, if you're angry with me, that's okay. What you are responsible for is your behavior from those emotions. So that means don't be nasty to each other, no door slamming. And if you do, clean it up. It's just like any other mess, you clean up your messes. They have freedom to fully express their feelings, which I think is not something that many people grow up understanding and being taught. I think that so much of our unhappiness comes from feeling like you're not proud of the person that you are. And that is something that I've had to overcome and learn the tools to be able to show up in my life with as much grace and humility as possible. And so for that, yes, that makes me feel like I am absolutely happy with how things are right now. So when you have negative thoughts, the thing that where I like people to start is to first and foremost know what your triggers are. So know the things that make your inner critic get very loud. So is it in your parenting? Is it at work? Is it with your body and your appearance? Is it in your friendships? Are you comparing yourself to others on social media, etc.? So that way you can recognize them faster instead of letting it come into your mind and then hours later you can't figure out why you feel so terrible, or you're lashing out at someone else, or you're, flipping someone off in traffic or whatever. So you know what your triggers are, and then so you can notice them very quickly. And what I teach people is to have a mantra that they say to themselves. So the mantra I use is, well, that just happened. So it's not negative. I'm not beating up my inner critic, nor am I changing it to positive self-talk. You're creating a pattern interrupter in your brain with this short, neutral statement. And for some people, this is huge. This in and of itself can change your life. And I don't use that lightly. This can change your life. And then self-compassion, speaking kindly to yourself, that can come later. I've had people say to me, well, I tried the mantra. I had some negative self-talk and I tried the mantra. And then 20 minutes later, I had negative self-talk again. And I'm like, of course you did. Your brain is used to thinking this way. The neural pathways have been created in your brain. You have to keep doing the tool over and over again to create new neural pathways. So keep going with the mantra, keep using the tool, and then slowly but surely you'll notice that your negative self-talk, you're able to manage it and build up resilience much easier.